turn off the phone, turn it back on. Hopefully the live stream will work. Oh, anyway, today, as you can see, it is not as bright as most other days. It's just the way that it is. It's just the way it is, as they say in the song. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We've got our usual books, as we do. It's kind of interesting. I was just sitting here getting ready to do the live stream. Not as high energy as usual because you guys know me. If the sun is not out there, the lizard people just don't have as much pep, as much spring in their step, as if you will. So sadly, that's a real thing. That's a real thing for some of us. Oh man, it's good. The first 10-15 seconds of the show are done. It was quite entertaining. I was just, as I said, I was just sitting there getting ready to stream, finishing off watching one of the episodes of the Saucecast. Watched one of the home team Valuetainment. It was pretty good. I know I've been giving a lot of how do you say that? A lot of heat on just driving it down on the alphas. But I really got nothing against the alphas, unless they misbehave. So they've been getting a lot of heat on the channel from me, but it's not like I'm going after the alphas. I'm really not. The world is beautiful because there's a variety of humans, and the problem is, one of the things that I always talk about is those video game shows and whatever, all that stuff that you see on Netflix and so on and so forth. It's all about a group of alphas competing to death in order to achieve goals, and then society can't be built just of one type of human. You need a variety in order for the whole system to work. There's too much of that testosterone, whether it's male, female, and whatever it is, because people are too alpha-y. That's when things go wrong. But anyway, as I said before, I digress. I was just sitting here having a good time, finishing off stuff and getting ready to have a little bit more power in my voice. And then there was this guy just walked by, and he had a really cute little puppy dog. He stopped for a second and then kicks the tree real hard, showing off that he is a martial artist, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But that kind of stuff happens around here because it's Irvine, California, Woodbridge, where people do practice martial art a lot, which is kind of fun. It is fun, guys. Anyway, what was I going to talk about today? I was going to paint a really awful picture of what the world would be like, because I've been talking too much about alphas, Saucecast and stuff like that, alphas and stuff. But the world, what would the world be like? Because there's technology these days that could put alphas out of business for good. Because women now have technology at their disposal, which in a world of better, faster, cheaper, keeps getting cheaper. So they could just not need men at all to keep procreating, and all you need is a little touch of that secret sauce, and the women could just create their own lives and never have to deal with a man ever, theoretically. So what kind of world would that become? And I think that that would not be a very pleasant world, because as much as I do believe women don't particularly like to deal with that toxic masculinity, but the fact that if there's just effeminate or feminine men everywhere, that could be a turnoff for a variety of reasons. And so there needs to be variety in our world for things to work out. One of the things that I noticed when I was running my two little businesses and stuff is sometimes the people that you wouldn't expect are the glue that keeps things together. Like maybe some of the people that you hire you're gonna have the top performers, you're gonna have the bottom feeders, you're gonna have the middle of the road. But sometimes some of the most unexpected people that may even be bottom feeders are the glue that keep the unit together. And when you're trying to build a team to do stuff, and you don't have some of those people that might not be, as I said, in the top performers or the middle tier, that maybe even in the bottom, but they keep people happy in the work environment. Once you remove some of those elements from the work environment, the whole thing collapses. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the way that people are building their teams, in the office spaces these days. And I think a lot of this has kind of changed a little bit because, when a lot of companies went remote, people don't really have to deal with each other anymore. So it's just basically the managers managing over Zoom and stuff. So a lot of that went out of the window. But when you had situations where everybody has to be in the office together, you do need those people. You do need those people that show up, that are just happy people, and they bring that glue that keeps things together. But anyway, going back to that thing, a whole society created only by females would be a little bit disastrous in its own way. I mean, of course, there wouldn't be as much of that toxic masculinity, but at the same time, even in relationships where there are like two women together or two men together, there's always going to be one that's more alpha than the other. So by creating a dynamic where there is only one type of human, I think that is a way to create some kind of a regression in the evolution of humanity. As that's the way I see it. I think there has to be there has to be some edginess to a human being. Like, you'll notice that a lot of the guys who are effeminate, but they're still like pretty good at talking to women and have game or whatever it is. Going back to that famous thing, have game, or at least are attractive to women, still have some edge to them. Because I mean, like, and I've made joke after joke after joke about the alphas. I'm not gonna do that today. Today we're gonna make fun of the betas or the sigmas or the whatever's in the gammas, whatever. Imagine a scenario when, you're with your girl and the girl gives you a jar, gives you a jar and say, "Hey babe, can you open that?" You better be pretty good with tools, right? You better be pretty good with tools if you can't just open up that jar. Or, imagine a world where, there's a fire or something and the fire brigade comes in, somebody goes in and goes, "I'm in here. This guy just fell over. He needs help. But he's 400 pounds. I'm going to have to hire a team of, or just call down the team of like 10 betas to come help me lift him out of the house." I mean, stuff like that. I mean, and again, as I said before, it really depends. It really depends on your situation and how you lived your life. Some people just can't deal with the alpha guy, and some people just can't deal with certain kinds of situations. So I understand people have been hurt, but to cancel out the whole idea of the alpha man figure is, I think it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. As I said before, I grew up with the not saying wanting to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and all the big guys and stuff. Mr. T was cool. Pitiful and stuff. But you have to realize who you are, right? You're either a mesomorph, or you're an ectomorph, or you're an endomorph, and all those different categories of what kind of human are you, and then based on that, you got to be able to do what you can with that. But to just go, bam, just knock them out, that's not cool. Oh, speaking of the guy that just kicked the trees back with his really cute puppy, see if has he got visual contact? He's looking at his puppy. He hasn't seen me. Anyway, it's really fun. Just walking his dog, coming along. Bam! And by the way, he didn't go and kick a, like a baby tree with a little trunk like this. I mean, this is a tree. We've got trees here in Irvine, California, that are big trees. Okay, I can't even give one of these trees a hug. Not, not a tree hugger, but I can't get my arms all the way around this tree, and my arms are pretty long. Anyway, so yeah, I think it would be a very, very stark world if it was completely devoid of alphas out there. So I mean, I always give them I give them a lot of crap. I give them a lot of crap, them alphas. But we need them. We need them. Don't cancel them. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Tate and the way that he's done things. I mean, I've watched some of his content. I don't disagree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't know what's going on, whether he's going to get, if he's going to get jail time or not. I'm not going to opine. I'm not going to give my opinion on any of that stuff because, again, it's not really my place. It's up to the, to the legal system to see if he's done it, if he hasn't done it. What I'm going to say is this. I did watch a couple of his videos, and some of the things that he said troubled me a little bit. And I guess that could be a little bit in the toxic masculinity part. I think he said something along the lines that, a woman is only going to be around so long as you've got money, and the second that you're down, the woman is gone. I think that's a little bit too. I feel like this guy at some point, when he was growing up, one or more women just stuck their hand down into his chest, pulled out his heart, threw it on the ground, stomped on it a few times, and then grabbed it and just shoved it back in his chest. For some of the things he says, because every boy goes through a difficult time when they're growing up. They're trying to figure out life, how it's going, girls, how to interact with them, and all that stuff. And every man, they might not want to admit to it, but every man has been crushed at some point. And it's the way that you pick up the pieces and you just get on with life, or you completely crawl up in a ball and die, that brings you to the next point, right? But whatever your experience is, you should never think, or at least try your best not to think, that women are all bad and they're all the same and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. Because I think that's garbage. I think it all depends on different circumstances in the way that women perceive you and stuff like that. So I'm glad that he got out of that and stuff like that, and that he was able to create business and become a successful person. And I'm really hoping that he did not do what is claimed that he has done, because if then you become somebody who is holding the cards, and then you abuse your power to cause issues to women, then you've become the thing that you hated, right? The thing that crushed you. You've become the thing that crushed you. So I'm hoping that's not the situation. There's a lot of alleging things, and that he's been scamming women and taking their money, or taking more of the money that they were making, which is like, if you want to call something deplorable, that is the worst, taking advantage of women. But anyway, so just having said that, that is the thing those are the vibes that I get from Andrew Tate, that I'm not, that raise a red flag for me. If he's actually doing good and people are, using things that he's saying to help them in their lives without turning into the thing that crushed him, then that could be okay. But if you are becoming the man that now holds all the cards, and now you are treating women like dirt because women will only be there for you because you have money, okay, that's a big red flag there. So anyway, those were my thoughts on Andrew Tate and things. And I don't know him personally. I like to know somebody personally before going in and judging and saying, "Oh, that guy's bad." I want to know all the facts. I want to meet him in person, and then I'll talk. That's what I always say about. I'll make jokes all day long about Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and stuff like that, but I haven't never met them in person. So beyond what is being said and stuff like that, and I'll make funny jokes and whatever based on the things that I've seen and stuff. But as I said before, I like to know someone personally, having met them, understand who they are before I pass real judgments on stuff. So anyway, guys, I've got my 2 favorite books here, as I always do. I do apologize. I give everybody a hard time. Alphas, betas, gammas, sigmas. You name it, I give them a hard time when I feel they're wrong. But, it's not every day and all the time. Give people a chance. So let's not label everybody the same way. Let's just put it in those terms. Let's read some of this cool book. I'm liking it. I'm having a good time with this book. Then we got this book. And possibly yesterday I forgot to talk about this book. Because we want to know a little bit of Chinese medicine. Why not? Everybody knows about Western medicine. We all know about all that stuff, but not everybody knows about Chinese medicine. So herbs and stuff. And why not? Learn something else. Learn something new. Where did we get to? We got to investment management, and I think we got to rereading the bottom of the page here, I think it was. We were at page 18. Page 18 of this book. I don't know if you can even buy this book, but you can go to their website, www.cfapubs.org, which is cfapubs.org, if you will. And CFA Pubs is all one word. Okay, good. So finance is based on powerful ideas and insights about the market. It is not based on powerful mathematics. But as the field evolves, it seems it has shifted to more mathematics and more sophisticated models. In doing so, it is easy to forget the underlying assumptions, some of which are highly unrealistic. In recent years, students with a strong mathematics and computer science background who would have gone to mathematics and science programs are recruited to finance and economic graduate programs. But only those who can think deeply and independently about issues in finance and economics can be expected to become successful investors. Clearly, in some domains of empirical science, all-encompassing mathematical formulations are not possible. Economics and financial economics are probably only partially susceptible to mathematical theories. Although mathematical reasoning is useful, it probably has to be complemented with less formal reasoning. Important and single events occur that we do not know how to describe mathematically, but we can rationalize. This circumstance limits but does not exclude the use of mathematics in economics and finance. For example, we might not lot of data on rare events such as market crashes and depressions, but we can formulate reasonable scenarios for such events that can in turn be mathematically represented. Critics of economics and finance as a mathematical science are probably right in saying that these fields can not be completely represented as unified mathematical theory. To deny that some parts of economic theories can be mathematically described, however, would be unscientific. Finance as an empirical science. Okay, so treating economics and finance more as social sciences is one alternative to prevailing practice. Stricter adherence to the paradigm of empirical science is the other. We will refer generally to this latter approach as scientific economics or scientific finance. We can broadly distinguish three main subfields of scientific economics. What? Econometrics and signal processing applied to financial economics, statistical mechanics applied to financial economics, and the theory of complex systems and network theory. Econometrics econometrics is the oldest application of scientific principles to economics and finance. It is based on applying statistical methods in particular time series analysis to empirical data, the diffusion of electronic transactions, and the consequent availability of high frequency and tick-by-tick data have enabled new methods of time series analysis borrowed from the field of signal processing. Techniques such as econometrics, oh my God, I can't do this word, econometrics, and signal processing can be considered applications of the scientific method in restricted domains in investment management, such as trading and execution. These techniques are based on collecting data, constructing hypothetical models, and then testing the models. The key problem with econometrics and signal processing is the amount of noise in empirical finance data. Fun stuff, which makes estimates highly uncertain. The choice of model is rarely based on compelling data, he says. All right, just making sure that the car that's leaving is not going to bang into us. You never know. Cool. Anyway, the application of statistical mechanics to financial economics is a new field. Of the results obtained, perhaps the best known is the celebrated presence of fat tails in most economic data distributions. So it says here in the book, fat tails. I am not fat shaming or anything like that, guys. Because the algorithm, who knows what it's going to think? What is it going to think? The presence of fat tails in distributions implies that large events have a non-negligible probability of happening. In a Gaussian distribution, on the contrary, large events, say those more than 3 standard deviations from the mean of the distribution, can be safely ignored. Not so when fat-tailed, non-Gaussian distributions. Fat tails play a fundamental role in investment management with important implications for the notion of diversification, risk-return optimization, and risk management. Again, this is not fat shaming. It says in the book, fat tails is regarding finance. The discovery that economic and financial variables are not Gaussian, but exhibit fat tails is a cornerstone of modern financial modeling. The modeling of fat tails with stable distributions and their application to finance is a major innovation. 50 years ago, Benoit Mandelbrot, 1963, provided the first fundamental attack on the assumption that price or return distributions are normally distributed. His empirical evidence, based on various time series of commodity returns and interest rates, strongly rejected normality and at distributional model for asset returns. Instead, Mandelbrot conjectured that financial returns are more appropriately described by a non-normal stable distribution. Supported by the work of Fama, 1963a, 1963b. I don't know, sometimes they allude to before and after Christ, but I have no idea what's going on here. So anyway, this result led to a consolidation of hypotheses that asset returns can be better described as a stable Paretian distribution. I have no idea. Every book is different. some have like labels AC, BC. This is just A and B. I have no idea what it refers to. And maybe there's some kind of sheet that explains it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. We'll just go with 1963 and 1963B. I don't know. Svetlozar Rashev or Rakev, I'm not sure. Professor at Stony Brook University. He must have been really stony. It's good. New York Christian men of the University of Applied Sciences in Mainz, Germany. And Frank Fabozzi, probably an Italian guy, co-author of this book, outlined the disruptive impact of stable distributions on financial modeling in their book, Fat-Tailed and Skewed Asset Returned Distributions in 2005. As they noted, the findings of Mandelbrot and Fama caused considerable concern in the finance profession. The authors quoted Paul Kuttner, 1964, a highly regarded financial economist who taught at both MIT and Stanford, who noted that if financial and economic variables were confirmed to follow a stable distribution almost without exception, past econometric work is meaningless. Go check out page 337 if you have this book. Kuttner went on to warn that before the Paretian hypothesis about asset returns should be accepted, more evidence was needed. As Rachev et al. 2005 noted, however, although a preponderance of empirical evidence was against normal distribution and support fat-tailed distributions of financial variables, the normality assumption remained the cornerstone of many leading theories used in finance. In fact, the authors argued the highly innovative nature of describing financial variables with stable distributions led to rejection of these distributions, often on the basis of weak arguments. For example, a strong objection was that there is no closed form representation of stable distributions, an objection that the diffusion of powerful computers and numerical methods has made obsolete. In addition to the fat-tailed nature of financial phenomena, an empirical-based model makes... sorry, I'm going to reread that bit. In addition to the fat-tailed nature of financial phenomena, an empirically based model must take into consideration the fundamental self-referentiality of financial markets and the models we use. Professor Leo commented, any model, field, or theory has a sociological dimension. Models are reflective in the sense that model that is widely adopted will tend to perform better and better, which in turn speeds up its adoption. This feedback loop can also turn against the model, as we have seen with value at risk, V, capital V, A, lowercase, R, uppercase. I'm not sure why that's VAR that way, but anyway, during the crisis. He says during the crisis, probably talking again about the 2007, 2009. If all market participants adopt the same set of standards, they then will tend to behave homogeneously, which speeds up the growth of a bubble and precipitates market crisis. Yeah, I guess. Hey, he's the expert. So anyway, why are mainstream economic and financial economic theories so resilient? Who knows? Let's find out. About to read it to you. Despite the failings in practical applications and the numerous studies that show how unrealistic the assumptions are, mainstream economic and finance theories are remarkably resilient. One explanation is that general equilibrium theories embody the notion of economic rationality. From the point of view of economists, rationality has many advantages. It allows the creation of a sophisticated theoretical construction even when data are missing or difficult to interpret. Benjamin Friedman, 2010 professor of political economy at Harvard University, wrote, It sometimes seems that many economists write and teach not about the world in which we live, but rather the world in which they wished we lived. Perhaps because the alternative world is analytically easy to handle, or perhaps because they find the policy implications that would follow in the world more to their liking, or perhaps for yet other reasons. This path is very seductive, especially in the intellectual arena. Few ideas offer more appeal than a model that is simple, elegant, and wrong. Page 3 of electronic documents. So it makes reference to electronic documents that you may or may not have. I don't know, maybe go check out the CFA website. You might find them on there. MIT's Professor Lowe, 2012, suggests that economists suffer from theory envy. That is, their objective is to create a structure that is on par with their colleagues in the physical sciences. In commenting on the exalted role of theory in economics, Professor Lowe wrote, "Theoretical fundamentals have been a hallmark of economics, making it unique among the social sciences, but any virtue can become a vice when taken to the extreme of the theory envy." Page 45. Neoclassical economists defend general equilibrium as an idealized framework that represents an economy without the imperfections of real economies. That is, the model is correct and really wrong. So reality is wrong in this case. In finance, the theory which has adopted the principles of classic economics, including general equilibrium, in the real-world behavior of prices is said to present price anomalies. Okay. However, another powerful motivation exists. Economic rationality includes faith in the optimality of markets and their self-correcting capability. In his History of Economics, John Kenneth Galbraith, 1987, remarked that economic theory reflects the ideology of the denominating power. Hi. Some nice people just walking by. For example, the iron law of wages was described in the early 19th century by the English banker and economist David Ricardo. Ricardo considered that wages naturally tended toward a minimum level, the price that would allow laborers to subsist and perpetuate without increase or diminution in their number. For factory owners in an industrializing Great Britain, the idea was quite attractive. Unfortunately, for those same factory owners, Ricardo's labor theory of value, as he called it, also influenced Marx in his early pessimistic views about the possibility that workers might benefit from capitalism. The rest is history. The fact that theory reflects the interests of the dominating power is not limited to economics. In Renaissance France, as the power of French kings was being consolidated, French jurist and political philosopher Jean Boudin, like the restaurant. We have a really cool restaurant here in Irvine, California. I guess it's spread across California in general too, is Boudin. And they make some really good French bread with a bunch of different things. There are a few vegan options available. Just ask, and you'll find good stuff if you're vegan. Otherwise, it suits pretty much all the other diets, so yum. Anyway, put forward a theory of sovereignty that argued in favor of absolutism as the best political system. Thomas Kuhn, 1962, analyzed the path through which science makes progress. According to Kuhn's classical analysis, science starts with the accumulation of data and empirical evidence. The tendency is always to defend current theories, grudgingly making adjustments when the theory is no longer tenable. But the accumulation of new empirical evidence can force a paradigm shift that results in new competing theories. Kuhn observed that science, like economic and political theory, is not neutral. Political and ideological influences shape its development. Of several well-known examples, an often cited one comes from Soviet Union, where the ideas of the biologist and agronomist, Trofim Lizensko, I think. I hope I'm not destroying this name, but I probably am, so I do apologize for that. Were imposed in the Stalin era, even though they were plainly wrong. Lizensko rejected Mendelian genetics in favor of hybridization theories of Russian horticulturist Ivan V. Miturin. Lizensko argued that crops inheritance was environmentally acquired. Scientific dissent from the Lizensko's theory was formally outlawed in 1948. As a result, Soviet research in biology came to a virtual halt, and programs to improve agricultural output fell far short of their objectives. After 1965, when Lizensko lost all political support, official sanction was bestowed on the view that Miturin was a breeder of genius whose unusual methods can be explained by genetics. Following a series of economic and financial crises that had made it difficult to maintain intact mainstream theories of equilibrium and rational agents, economic and finance theory also might be moving toward a turning point. Many are now calling for modification of the prevailing paradigm or even paradigm change. But changing a scientific paradigm is never easy. Max Planck, 1949 and 1950, a founder of quantum mechanics, wrote, "A new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it." Or, as he put it more succinctly, science advances one funeral at a time. Yet another explanation is that mainstream economists and financial economists dominate the major publications and have created an effective barrier to the publication of ideas critical of or challenging mainstream theory. Mainstream theory, gosh, skipping a line there or two. Professor K, 2012, commented on the difficulty of getting published if one does not adhere to mainstream neoclassical thinking. He said, "You would be told that your model was theoretically inadequate. It lacked rigor, failed to demonstrate consistency. You might be accused of the cardinal sin of being ad hoc." Rigor and consistency are the two most powerful words in economics today. So what are the two? Rigor and consistency are the two most powerful words in economics today. Consistency and rigor have undeniable virtues, but for economists, they have particular interpretations. Consistency means that any statement about the world must be made in the light of comprehensive description or descriptive theory of the world. Rigor means that the only valid claims are logical deductions from specified assumptions. Consistency is therefore an invitation to ideology, rigor an invitation to mathematics. Okay, other sources have commented on the difficulty of getting published in major professional publications for anything other than what supports the... Wow, it's pretty long. Let's finish it off, though. Or not. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop it here and read some of the things that I did not read earlier, which were the little bits down here. Sometimes I miss a couple of those. Not so far. Let's not do that. And then I'll talk about a couple of things, because this thing here about consistency and rigor applies to pretty much so many other fields. So except maybe art can sort of like break certain rules in order to create things. But aside from that, most other fields require consistency and rigor. And I would say that about dating as well. So anyway, what was the other thing that they were talking about before? MIT's Lowe suggests that economists suffer from theory envy. Oh, theory envy. There was something else in here. Neoclassical economist defends general equilibrium, an idealist framework that represents an economy with imperfections of real economics. Why are mainstream financial economic theories so resilient? Resilience, also important to have resilience. Anyway, Gregor Mendel was a Central European monk and teacher of mathematics, physics, and Greek. He used the microscope to conduct research on the basic facts of heredity. In his research on the common pea plant, Mendel discovered that certain traits show up in offspring without any blending of parent characteristics. The mechanisms of heredity that he discovered worked on plants are basically the same for all complex forms of life. Maturin was one of the founding fathers of scientific agricultural selection. Agricultural selection. He worked on hybridization of plants of similar and different origins. The most important problems elaborated by him were intervarietal and distant hybridization. So in many cases, they went through hybridization, or basically they created some kind of cross-planting system in order to make sure that certain plants would survive better than others, or give you more of what you want and less of what you don't want. For instance, you can now find seedless grapes. They're not 100% seedless, but for the most part, you won't find seeds in them. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I'm pretty sure that they must have cross-bred some kind of plants in ways so that they would, generationally have less and less seeds in them, which is something that we all enjoy. Like the fact of having a seed in your mouth and having to spit it out while you're enjoying a fruit or a vegetable can be not so convenient. Like, so many people like chicken tenders and stuff. Why chicken tenders? Because you don't have to deal with the bones and stuff. You don't have to worry about your teeth biting into something and breaking your teeth. So a lot of convenience has been done, a lot of modification, genetic and other ways other systems have been used in order to improve on certain things. Is that good or bad? In some ways it's good, in some other ways it's bad. It's harder to, I guess, if you don't know what you're doing, it's harder for you to grab a seedless grape with no seeds and plant your own. For instance, you're gonna have to have a seed from somewhere. So anyway, that would be disastrous. That would be disastrous if that kind of technology got implemented in humans, making, for instance, males or females less fertile. If that kind of technology got adopted and used in humans, that would be a serious detriment or problem for the human race. It's not something that we have to worry about because we've got like 8 billion people. So the world is peoply. It's over peoply, if you will. But yeah, there have been some movies where they tried to show you what the world would be like if that were the case. And so, yeah. Anyway, so rigor and consistency, those are two things that are very important in all aspects of our lives. You got to be rigorous and persistent in whatever you do, whether it's business or in your lifestyle. Like if you're in your marriage, you got to keep doing things differently, figuring out different ways to make it work, because otherwise it fails. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over every single day. You got to spice it up, get things going. Anyway, that doesn't apply to everything. There's always going to be situations where things can't work out, but hopefully things can be made to work out. And that's one of the things that I always say is, like, for those women and those men that are getting in the middle of marriages, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you know how difficult it is for two people to stay together these days? What are you doing? What are you doing? And a lot of people Um, and that's a problem with a lot of the high value men. Again, I don't want to drill it down and hurt the high value men so much. But one of the things is, if you're dealing with a high value man who is married, you're putting yourself in a stupid position, because do you know how much money and effort it takes to break a relationship of that kind? And do you realize that if those people are actually engaging with you, it's not serious. They can be lying to you. They can be playing that game. Oh, I'm going to quit her and we're going to break up, and it's all about you, baby. It's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. And even if it does, do you realize what you're getting yourself into? Anyway, one of the most important things that is to be said, and I'm going to go back to that sauce cast because it was fun. It's not necessarily this one. It's the latest. Go check out the latest sauce cast. I always bring up this poster because I took a lot of time to make this poster. Though I ran out of ink. We're running out of ink. We need some of that funding to buy some ink. Anyway, so one of the things is, if you are going to go out on dates, and it's much easier for girls to find guys than it is for guys to find girls. But if you do, watch out for that first date. And a lot of the times it's better for the girl to set up the date herself, in the sense that, you're chatting with the guy and stuff. Just have it set up on your own terms. Invite him to somewhere that you're comfortable with. Maybe have a couple of girlfriends there to protect you. Girls need to be extra careful. They just have to be extra careful. As a father of a girl, that's the kind of advice that I would give too. And also, it's good for the guy too. You can kind of figure out if you like this girl, because sometimes she will be with her friends. So if you don't like her friends, you may not like her. So, coffee shop's always a good one. If you don't want to break the bank, whatever place that she's comfortable with, it might be at a gym that she's into with her friends. But anyway, let her pick the place where she wants to meet you. It doesn't have to be about spending money, because one of the things that I always think about is, if you started off the relationship and it was about a transaction, that should make you think, did we hit it off? Did it all go out because we were getting into something because it was a lifestyle thing? Or was it just because, you got to know each other and whatever it was, and then it turned into something? That's what I'm always thinking about. But anyway, old people, weird ideas. Somebody who comes out from, a long, long time ago, 40 years ago. I don't know what the kids are doing these days. I don't know. But just keep it safe. Where did we get to? We got to the angel face, didn't we? Angel face. Alexander Americano. I think we did these. The Alexander. Oh yeah, that's why, because I put this thing in there. Again, that's just a placeholder. I can't recommend or not recommend this business because I haven't tried any of the things. But for the senior citizens and veterans, they do have senior citizens and veterans discount. But again, I haven't used them, so I have no idea if they're any good. So sometimes you'll see things that I put up on the channel accidentally, but I want to make sure that you guys, that I will promote the things that I know for sure. And sometimes if things pop up, it's not necessarily something that I was promoting. Hey, we got to banana time today. Awesome. Banana bliss. Banana daiquiri. Is it daiquiri? I don't know. Between the sheets. Wow. Hey, okay, guys. I didn't come up with these. They just popped up. They popped up here. So, all right, so let's go. Let's get into the banana bliss first. Ingredienti. So we're going to go half crema di banana, half cognac. Ok, so miscelare nel mixing glass con del ghiaccio cristallino o direttamente in un bicchiere old fashioned, sempre con cubetti di ghiaccio. Banana daiquiri. Ingredienti. So it's 6/10 rum bianco. Rum bianco, I should say. 3/10 crema di banana. 1/10 succo di limone o lime. And then si prepara nel blender. Excuse my humanity. Con ghiaccio e scaglie frullando ad alta velocità. Versare il tutto non filtrato in un bicchiere old fashioned. Decorare con mezza banana e con una cannuccia corta. So they're looking for a short straw on this one. They drew the short straw. Anyway, so between the sheets, this is the one we're going to talk about. It's the third one. Ingredienti. 2/3, which is two-thirds rum bianco. 1/3, which is un terzo cointreau. Cointreau? I don't know, it's some weird thing. It might be French. 1/3 brandy. Qualche goccia di succo di limone. Okay, so brandy, qualche goccia di succo di limone. Okay, excellent. So it says nello shaker, pieno fino a metà di ghiaccio cristallino, versare il rum, il cointreau e il brandy. Oh, I had the R moshe on this one. I don't know. Anyway, so completare il succo di limone e agitare bene. Servire in coppette da cocktail precedentemente fatte gelare nel freezer. Okay, cool. So you'll notice that if you know enough Italians, some will have the R moshe, which is basically they can't pronounce the R. It's more of a French R for some reason. Everybody's got a different way of doing things. But anyway, you'll if you meet enough Italians, you'll notice that there's different accents too that go with it. Although I was born on an island, sadly the island boys revoked my ability to be an island boy. They said, no, you must go through us. Whatever, man. I was born on an island of Sicily, and I am an island boy. You don't get to tell me who I am. Anyway, they always want to label you whatever they want. They don't get to. You can be what you want. Anyway, so let's do the Bellini here. Bellini. The Bellini. There we go. You guys should know about the Bellini. Anyway, so it's 1/3 frullato o centrifugato di pesca bianca, which is white peach. Don't we love? It's all about the peach. It's all about the peach and the cherries. Anyway, tagliare. We're gonna have to do this. I forgot the other ingredient. I got all excited about peaches. 2/3 spumante brut. Brut. It's probably a brut. In Italian, brutto, which means ugly. We're gonna try not to use that word. It's too toxically masculine. So anyway, tagliare a spicchi la pesca precedentemente levata e frullarla o centrifugarla con un po' di ghiaccio tritato e di spumante per rendere il succo sufficientemente cremoso. Versare in un bicchiere flute lo spumante e poi aggiungere il succo di pesca versandolo pian piano. Colmare con lo spumante brut ben freddo. Giuseppe Cipriani, fondatore nel 1931 del Harry's Bar, storico locale veneziano, in occasione di una mostra dedicata al grande pittore Giovanni Bellini, 1948, creò questo sparkling dandogli il nome del celebre artista. Da allora il Bellini è diventato un cocktail riconosciuto a livello internazionale. YouTube, it's not really bloody, it's about cocktails. Please don't cancel the... I don't know. I've seen a couple of people try to subscribe lately, but then just living the YouTube dream. Living the YouTube dream. So I would or pressing the vote. I'm unsubscribed again. So I do apologize for that. I had to shut off the show. I had to come back. It is a mess, guys. It is a mess, guys. They don't want me to talk about this stuff. Shh, cancel him. Quick, cancel him. Anyway, so since that all happened, I might read a couple of pages from this cool book here. But before I do, I'm just wondering, YouTube has just recently added a couple of button functions. There's a button for the haters now. There's a new button for the haters. Before the haters button was dislike button, but now there's a new button, which is, I think they call it the not a fan of the channel button or something like that. But anyway, if you press the three dots, you can do that. You can go over there and you can click on that button, and that allows you to say not a fan of that particular channel. So again, this is the subterfuge, the tricks that the YouTube, the lengths of which the YouTube system goes to make sure that you can really hate on channels is absolutely amazing. So again, it's always smoke and mirrors. They removed the dislike button, but now they have a new button. It's not right there for you to see right away, but you can still hate on people's channels. I just don't understand. I just don't understand what is going on. What is going on? I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, who comes up with these things? Anyway, so on a happier note, I thought the other day I was going to say something about this YouTube like option for good commercial. Oh yeah, I think that we should introduce, or we should at least talk to people at YouTube, or talk to the YouTube algorithm. I don't know. Who do you try to talk to these days? Do you need to ask your local, governor or something to contact you? YouTube? How do you get in touch with YouTube people who have power in YouTube? How do you do that? Do you have to take them to court? Put that in the comments if you know how to, because in the old days you had people who managed your channel. You can actually talk to people in real life. How do you connect to the YouTube crowd these days? Because this would be a fun thing if we had a YouTube like option for good commercials. For instance, you see how you can hate on people's channels all day long on YouTube, but you can't say anything against the commercials that are being run. For instance, maybe there's a commercial that that is a real scam, and for sure because you've bought the product. Okay, I'm not saying that this should be a hate on commercials kind of thing, right? This shouldn't be like a button that you could use to say, okay, I hate Coca-Cola, or I hate Pepsi, and so I'm gonna bash either Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I'm talking about one of those things where you've bought the product, you have a good reason why you don't like the commercial, or it's one of those drone commercials that I keep talking about, where they say, well, check this out. This $99 drone can do what the, $500 or $1,000 or $10,000 drone can do, which is, it's just impossible, that kind of thing. And have a button for people to be able to put in. Again, this is where it's important, right? If you're gonna dislike something, if you're gonna hate on something, you need to be able to write a reason why, because otherwise you're just writing in something ridiculous like, well, this product is just the biggest bundle of poop. Why? Explain, and then press the button. This is what I've been saying for a long time, but I guess the company just doesn't want to listen to me. If you do, because in some cases people want to know, is this particular channel a detriment or a real cause of problems for people, right? If you've got all kinds of these scam artists, and they go on to websites, or they will create the YouTube channel, and they sell products that they know don't work to people and stuff like that. And so the point of this is you do need to have a fail-safe for this. You can't just keep taking their money, YouTube, just because you need their money, and then just allow them to just run the commercials. But anyway, I just thought I'd put that out. Another cool thing is that I was talking about before was recently I came up I came across a commercial that was really fun, and so I wanted to talk about that because I thought that was really cool. Again, I think this is a guy who already has a YouTube channel, and he has, I think, his own course or whatever. But he looks like a cool guy, and he talks about drones anyway. He's got all the Mavics and stuff, and he has his own course, and I think it probably is pretty good, because I think there's been some decent feedback on it anyway. But anyway, he dropped this commercial, and I thought it was hilarious, and I thought I'd just give a shout out to him just for making it. And he goes, it was something along the lines of, hey, did you buy the latest DJI drone, or the latest coolest drone out there, and you've been shooting photographs and feel like the National Geographic hasn't contacted you yet, or something along the lines. It was hilarious. It says, don't worry, I'm pretty sure it's not you. You're not the problem. Like, going back to the Taylor Swift thing, which is hilarious. And he goes, and then it goes on to saying, don't be the stinky caveman who it's hilarious. Keeps typing into Google to try to figure out what to do to make your photographs cool when you shoot things with drones. It's like, don't worry, I got you covered. I thought that was really cool. So anyway, if YouTube wants to play that commercial on my channel all day long, go for it. I think that's really cool. But anyway, I thought I'd do that quick shout out there. Why not? Why not? Sometimes when you find something that's really good, just push it out there. Just push it out. I thought that was really cool. But anyway, you guys can tell me if you've seen that commercial before and you thought it was cool too. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments for this guy over here, that pesky, conniving son of a gun, Marco Reviews. All right, so gonna read page. There's a bunch of forwards. Forwards 1, forwards 2. And how many forwards are there? I don't know. There's a lot of forwards. Anyway, did you guys see the latest and greatest additions to the kitchen here? The messiest kitchen in Irvine, California, Woodbridge. I just built it back better. Didn't I? Anyway, snarky fool. Anyway, so traditional Chinese medicine has greatly contributed to human health and holds an irreplaceable rank among various kinds of medicines in the world. However, its theories are extensive and profound, stressing on comprehension, as it is said, easy to study and difficult to comprehend. This book is written by revered professor and Dr. Zhang Chang-en, which introduces the key processes when handling diseases with TCM. His writing is very beneficial to enlighten the young doctors to make use of theories of TCM and enhance the skill of clinical practice. Dr. Zhang learned family lore in TCM from early childhood, endeavoring to Huangdi's Canon of Medicine, Classic of Medical Problems, Shen Nong's Herbal Treatise on Cold-Induced and Miscellaneous Diseases, and then apprenticed to the respective master Hu Shi-shu and Chen Shenhu and Zhong Weixin. Did I read this already? Maybe I read this already. He is skilled at the doctrine of Zhang Zhongjing and expert at using classical formulas of TCM in the treatment of difficult and chronic diseases. In recent years, Dr. Zhang probes into the study of formula syndrome and has summarized its 4 factors and 7 levels and 10 stages of diagnostics and therapeutics in TCM. I think I've read this before, but maybe it just keeps talking about it. I don't know. He always carries on the characteristics of TCM when treating patients, since he resigned from the medical university at 60 years old. He has his own clinic focused on difficult and chronic diseases. Many patients have come to his clinic in workdays because of the remarkable effect. Now, Dr. Zhang is in his 70s and still works in the clinic for 3 days a week. With the time he has put into the work, rich experiences of TCM about difficult and chronic diseases have been accumulated. Furthermore, Dr. Zhang gives weight to the passing on education of TCM. He not only concerns for apprentices' success represent my success. If they could pass on my experience, it is as if my life is prolonged. Last year, to meet the need of more than 10 students from different provinces that admired him and hoped to learn from him, Dr. Zhang taught while dealing with patients in clinic in the morning and gave lectures in the afternoon for weeks. He is such a high-minded man with a vision that he did all these free and provided board and lodging for them, which has been a favorite topic. So one of the things I really like about his attitude is he didn't want to be remembered because he built statues, he built bridges, he built infrastructure, he built all stuff. He wanted to be remembered because of how he helped people, but more importantly, he was happy that his teachings went on to other people, became part of their lifestyles, and then his teachings were then used by other people to help other people, which I think is really cool and remarkable. I'm not sure that there are many people out there that have this philosophy. Anyway, 10 stages of diagnostics and therapeutics in traditional Chinese medicine. Chinese English, written by Dr. Zhang, based on his 50 years experience in teaching and clinical practice, will not only be the reference for clinicians of TCM, but also bring popular science knowledge of TCM for the common readers and foreigners, with Beijing's Olympic Games as an opportunity. The 10 stages in the book, embracing the theories, methods, formulas, and herbs, not only has the merit of holding the brief to cope with the diverse, but also annotates the implication of the well-known phrase of observe the pulse and syndromes. Now, what situation has changed, and then treat according to the syndromes at that time. If studying it earnestly and grasping its essence, the readers will surely improve their abilities of producing TCM. As a book to be published, Dr. Zhang asked me to write the foreword. Although, knowing myself not capable person, I can still distinguish the good from the bad. So I write this to set the ball rolling despite I may have little talent. So Professor Dr. Wang Qingguo, Vice Chancellor of Beijing University TCM, Chief Member of Zhongjing's Doctrine Council, China Association of TCM, January 2008. So now there is part 2 of the foreword right here, and we'll get into that tomorrow because it's been me about 69, getting ready for that 69 proposition. Are you getting ready for that proposition 60? Did you vote yes on Prop 69? You know, this is going to be a cool, look at these cool, cute puppies right there. Speaking of, we might have Wilbur, our favorite puppy, someday again, maybe soon. Not sure how long we'll have him. It'd be nice to have him for another 2 weeks, but we'd probably only have him for another day or so, but that'd be cool. Anyway, just thought I'd say that, and in conclusion, guys, as always, if you want to stick it to me good. You can buy this book because the money doesn't go to me. It goes to Grandmaster Tom Wong here. Secret Origin of Wing Chun. Again, 2,200 years of training, history, philosophy, and development of ancient Chinese MMA in a cool book right here. And if he gets enough money, he might make the sequel, which would be cool because a bunch of his students might collaborate to help him bring the second book to life. And if he does, I might get it on the channel for free, which would be pretty cool, and I can read it to you. You want to help make that happen? I'm sure you don't, but if you do, go check him out. He's on Amazon. Again, Secret Origin of Wing Chun. And with that, guys, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.